Hello, welcome to our build guide for the Elementalist Ascendancy. Tornado of Elemental Turbulence is a new transfigured variant meant to be a standalone skill. It no longer interacts with your projectiles, but you can send out 3 tornadoes at once, and they convert all physical damage to fire, cold, and lightning damage, which you can manipulate via combat-focused duels. It is a very versatile skill that you can build around in many ways, but the Elementalist seems to be the best choice. You can easily apply all types of enhanced elemental exposures, inflict powerful ailments, and benefit from the elemental aegis for additional protection against incoming damage. Thanks to the Shaper of Storms notable, all your tornadoes will be able to shock your enemies, although the lightning tornado will be the most proficient while doing so. Thanks to this interaction, you will also be able to wear the Impulsor's Broken Heart, which will greatly improve your clear speed. On the other hand, your cold tornado will be able to chill and freeze your enemies. You can take advantage of a very powerful cold mastery that greatly improves your damage against chilled and frozen enemies. As for your fire tornado, it deals slightly more damage, but the ignite it provides is not very useful. Your tornadoes will deal mixed damage thanks to the high amount of added extra damage based on their original physical damage. Each tornado will hit 4 times per second, which you can't modify by your cast speed, so you should focus solely on improving the critical strikes and gem levels. Your main defense comes from spell suppression and evasion. You will also use the Petrified Blood to delay part of the incoming damage and improve your life leech, but it will make you more susceptible to damage over time effects. Great mobility, homing tornadoes, and lots of explosions make up an excellent combination to quickly farm maps. The damage against bosses is also very good, elevated by powerful ailments and the high uptime of your tornadoes. The Transfigured Gem is the only requirement of this build, with lots of cheap upgrades within its reach. There are a few useful, unique items for this build, but none of them is mandatory. The most impactful is Impulsor's Broken Heart armor, which provides powerful explosions that improve your clear speed, but the automatic targeting of your tornadoes is enough for smooth gameplay without it. The Darkseer is a newly reworked scepter that is a very powerful tool for most spellcasters. It grants a lot of damage via additional gem levels, and improves your survivability by increasing your life, blinding enemies, and inflicting the malediction debuff. This armor will greatly improve your clear speed by exploding whole packs of enemies. It also boosts your damage and effective shock. You should look for a Corrupted Implicit to increase the gem levels, and link it using the Tainted Orb of Fusing. The replica Dragon Fang's Flight can improve the levels of any skill gem in the game by 3, but make sure to get the correct variant. It also improves your reservation efficiency with auras, provides elemental resistances, and reduces attribute requirements. Ashes of the Stars provides fewer gem levels than the previous option, but increases the quality of all your skills, which improves the movement speed of your tornado significantly. After the changes it received, it is much more affordable. The Balance of Terror is a very powerful jewel for this kind of build. It will grant you tons of extra damage for 10 seconds after you cast your main curse. You will have to use the curse manually, but it is not a problem in this setup anyway. The Circle of Guilt is a very powerful ring that can greatly improve your damage, but only if it has the specific modifiers for your Herald, which you can further increase with proper catalysts. You can also seek a useful Synthesis Implicit, but it can be quite costly. The Watcher's Eye is a special, unique jewel that grants powerful bonuses depending on the auras you are using. You will have many choices, but the best ones to improve your damage are related to the Zealotry. Bonuses related to Grace and Vitality are excellent choices if you want to improve your defense. The Lethal Pride will grant you tons of strength and provide additional bonuses to all notables in its radius. You should try to get one that grants you a chance to deal double damage, improves your maximum life, or offers physical damage mitigation. The Tornado Gem has all elemental and physical tags, making it very easy to improve its levels via specific modifiers on your weapons and amulet, or stack a lot of critical strike multiplier with your rare jewels. Defensively speaking, you should focus on getting high maximum life, spell suppression chance, and enough energy shield to freely cast your skills. You will need at least one modifier to improve your mana reservation efficiency, which you can achieve via Essence of Loathing or Eldritch Influence. You should also seek maximum life, spell suppression chance, elemental resistance, and physical damage mitigation. You can use any rare weapon with bonuses to spell damage and critical strike chance for spells. Remember that you can benefit from all gem types to improve the level of your tornado, which should greatly reduce the cost of such a weapon. Your shield can provide the same offensive bonuses as your weapon, with the addition of some defensive bonuses as well. You should seek maximum life, gem levels, crit chance for spells, spell damage, and an empty suffix to craft the suppression chance via the crafting bench. On your boots, you should focus on defensive bonuses such as maximum life, resistances, and spell suppression chance. The movement speed is also very important, and you can pair it with the chance to gain onslaught on kill. Additionally, you can improve the effect of your non-damaging ailments, which will greatly affect your shock and chill. Your gloves should also be focused on defenses, although you can get a bit of damage here too. The Eldritch Implicits are very important as they allow you to unnerve your enemies, which increases all spell damage they take. At first you can source your life leech from the Eater's Influence, but it should be replaced with spell suppression later on. You can get a lot of strength, life, and resistance on your belt, which should ideally be a Stygian Vice to include an additional Abyss Jewel in your setup. You can also improve your Flask sustain with various Flask charge modifiers. On the Abyss Jewel you can get a bit of maximum life, critical strike multiplier, and lacking resistances or attributes. You can also add a bit of damage to your spells or get immunity to corrupted blood. At first it might be hard to use two unique rings, so you can use a rare ring that will provide maximum life and lacking resistances or attributes. To improve your damage, you should seek critical strike multiplier and craft a minimum frenzy charge. Similarly to your ring at the beginning, you can use a rare amulet with bonuses to any skill gem levels, maximum life, and lacking resistances or attributes. You can also craft the effect of non-damaging ailments here, which will greatly help with your progression. Your jewels are a very potent source of critical strike multiplier, as you can use a combination of every element. It should also grant you maximum life and cover lacking resistances or attributes. You will need a specific combination of notables here. The corrosive elements allow any of your tornado to apply all three elemental exposures, which is an important part of your ascendancy. The Doriani's Lesson grants you Life Leech, and the Sadist increases your damage by 60% since you will apply all ailments very often. You should use two medium cluster jewels that improve your critical strike chance and grant you a chance to deal double damage. You can also use one that improves the effect of non-damaging ailments and combine it with Lightning Mastery, so you can easily inflict 65% shock on your enemies. The Bottled Faith is a purely offensive flask. It greatly improves your damage and critical strike chance against enemies standing on the consecrated ground, which this flask or your zealotry aura creates. Taste of Hate is a great flask that combines defense and offense. It will reduce the physical and cold damage you take, as well as add plenty of cold damage to all your tornadoes, allowing them all to inflict a moderate amount of chill or freeze. This flask can be used to substitute the Impulse's body armor or magnify its effects for even more clear speed and explosions. It is quite expensive, so don't rush it if your gear is not that good yet. For your magic flask setup, we recommend using a life flask with bleeding removal, quicksilver flask with cast or attack speed bonus, diamond flask with critical strike chance bonus, and a jade flask with evasion rating bonus. The Tornado of Elemental Turbulence summons up to 3 tornadoes that automatically seek nearby enemies. Each tornado randomly converts its physical damage to fire, cold, or lightning damage. You can acquire the Elemental Penetration Gem from the vendor recipe. The Trinity support would be ideal for this setup, but it cannot be used with orb skills. With higher investments, you can replace the Critical Strike support with Empower or Concentrated Effect support. Grace is a very useful defensive aura that grants you a lot of evasion rating and helps improve it further. Petrified Blood locks your maximum life at 50%, but delays part of every hit damage to be taken over 4 seconds, which makes your leech extremely efficient. Herald of Purity is a very powerful herald for this build. It improves the physical damage of your tornado, which gets converted to other damage types. Another useful herald, it adds part of your physical damage as extra fire damage and improves it further. If you lack the mana reservation efficiency, you can allocate the Presage Notable on your passive tree. Vitality is a useful defensive aura that grants you a lot of life regeneration, which is very helpful for a Petrified Blood setup. Precision improves your critical strike chance. The accuracy rating bonus is unnecessary as it doesn't affect spells. This banner improves your evasion rating and reduces the critical strike chance of nearby enemies. Link those auras with the Arrogance support. It will reserve your life instead of mana and improve their effects. The Zealotry is a powerful offensive aura that improves your spell damage and raises your critical strike chance with spells. The Divine Blessing will turn this permanent aura into a temporary buff. Thanks to the Eldritch Battery Keystone, you can pay its cost using the Energy Shield. Your main movement skill is the Shield Charge. It performs a fast charge towards the targeted location and has no cooldown. Your Shield Charge will be faster if you improve your attack or movement speed. Additional quality is also useful here, so you can use the Enhanced support if you find a socket to spare. Flame Dash is your emergency movement skill that teleports you in a short distance. It can store up to 3 charges. You can also use the Frost Blink skill instead. The Steel Skin is a useful guard skill that reduces the damage you take and disables bleeding during its duration. You can automate it with the Automation or Cast when damage taken support. Elemental Weakness lowers all elemental resistances of affected enemies. It will also grant you a lot of extra damage if you use the relevant Balance of Terror Jewel. The Assassin's Mark improves your critical strike chance and damage against marked enemies. It will also generate power charges in single target scenarios. Killing all bandits for 2 bonus skill points is the best option, but you can also help Alira to get additional resistance and critical strike multiplier. For your major Pantheon power, you should use the Soul of Brine King to get freeze immunity and stun lock avoidance. The Soul of Shikari is the best minor Pantheon power to choose, as it grants you protection against poisons and chaos damage. The leveling process of this build is very easy. You can start using the Tornado of Elemental Turbulence at level 34. Up to that point you should use the Blade Vortex, which is a similar physical based spell. For more tips for your leveling, you can check out our written guide on our website. Your final passive tree focuses mostly on critical strikes for spells, elemental damage, boosting your maximum life, and a bit of mana reservation efficiency. The Chosen Lightning and Cold Masteries boost all your damage after you inflict a corresponding ailment, making them very effective. The Disciple of the Forbidden will generate power charges for you during the map clear, so you don't have to worry about using the Assassin's Mark against weaker foes. The Lightning Mastery allows your shocks to spread to other targets in radius. It will greatly enhance the explosive capabilities of the Impulsor armor. You can also opt for the improved maximum effect of shock, which will grant you a considerable boost against bosses. A single small point spent in the Cold Wheel is not a mistake. Increasing the cold element duration is very impactful for your freeze, especially against enemies with large life pools. That concludes today's video. We hope you enjoyed watching it. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Have a good day and see you in the next guide.